So as I was saying, welcome back to another Q&A Sunday, everyone. So yeah, as I said, last week we didn't have it at the end of the month because I was celebrating my niece's first birthday. So yeah, definitely good times then. But we are back today. I'm here to answer all of the questions that you have, any question whatsoever. So the usual format is basically like, if you have a question that you'd like to ask me, just pop it into the chat and then I'll pick it up from there and get that answered for you. Outside of that, I do also have some questions that people have submitted beforehand. So I'm just going to be going through those if, like, I don't see any other questions come through from you guys in the audience tonight. So yeah, definitely do feel free. Don't be nervous. Don't be shy. This is what Q&A Sundays are for, to answer your questions. So like, if you have anything on your mind, just let me know. So without further ado, let's get into the first question. So maybe I'll just put my laptop on my lap here so I'm not looking over there constantly. Yes, so let's go on to the first question. Right, question number 1. Is property sourcing your full-time job? How did you save for your first deposit? Where were you working to save up? So property sourcing is not my full-time job. Little secret actually, well, it's not really a secret, but I'm actually stopping property sourcing just because of, like, capacity restraints. Like, I can't afford to continue to offer that as a service, essentially, because I've got enough clients on hand who I'm working with, and I don't want to like jeopardize quality because I'm trying to take on more people. So yeah, sourcing is something that I'm actually going to stop doing. Well, I have sort of stopped anyway, but yeah, when I was doing it, it was not my full-time job. I have a full-time role in project management. So yes, that answers that question. In terms of how I saved for my first deposit, so I do actually have a video. I have a couple of videos actually that speak on that topic, so I will link them in the cards. But it was generally just about like budgeting for me, really, like committing to like a budget and sticking to it. So having how much I'm going to spend on my expenses each and every month, and then the money that I have left over for like the things that I want to do and sort of want to purchases and things like that. So yeah, even when it comes down to things like holidays, it wasn't a thing whereby I didn't go on any holidays, but it was just a thing of finding cheaper ways to do things and not, maybe not doing all inclusive that you see, a lot of people doing. So it's just about sacrifice, really, and knowing that, for a period of time, I'm trying to focus and save towards this one thing. So I'm just going to like basically close my eyes to some other things and just focus on achieving that thing. So yeah, that was my main like focus, and that's what helped me to be able to save my first deposit really quickly. So that's that question hopefully answered properly. Oh, the add-on to that question was, were you working to save up? Yes, I was working to save up for that deposit. So moving on to question number 2, we've got a bit of a scenario in this one. So it says, I'm thinking of getting a buy-to-let with my sister. She has already purchased a home, so I feel she will be covered in that sense. But getting a joint mortgage makes me look more appealing to lenders now. Would I still be appealing to them if I then try and get another mortgage alone a couple years after I did with my sister? So yeah, you definitely still be appealing to lenders, because lenders like when people already have a first mortgage. Most times they want you to have a residential mortgage first before you go on to get a buy-to-let. But if you're thinking of doing a buy-to-let first with your sister who already has a property, that's definitely going to give you like a high chance of like success in your application. And so when you do go on to get that second property by yourself, it's definitely going to be a good thing for you, because as long as you don't default on the payments on this first mortgage with your sister, then they're going to see you as someone that is, worthy of lending money to, essentially. So it's definitely a good thing. Don't make that feel that because you've got a mortgage, you're getting a mortgage now. If I do another one in a couple of years' time, that's going to put people off, or it's just going to be messy. That's exactly the kind of thing they want to see. They want to see that you've had a mortgage and you've been paying. So yeah, definitely go for it. Question number 3. How soon can you remortgage after purchasing a property? So I actually done an Instagram post all about remortgaging this week. So that's where this question came from. And so when it comes to remortgaging, I believe that the minimum is 6 months, so you can technically remortgage a property from about 6 months. Obviously, it depends on the lender that you go with and the terms and conditions in your contract. But I always advise that it's best to try and remortgage once you're out of that period where you need to pay the early exit fee and other fees like that. So yeah, if you wait until maybe your existing mortgage product ends, so for example, if it's a 2-year fix or a 5-year fix or whatever type of mortgage products you have at present. If you wait until like that's coming to an end and then remortgaged in, that'll be the best time for you, because you avoid fees and you can basically retain a lot more of like the benefits. So if it's a case whereby you want to remortgage to release equity, obviously you'll be able to take more equity for yourself if you don't have any fees to pay that lender. So yeah, that is my advice when it comes to remortgaging. And also, I did mention in that same Instagram post that I'm currently going through the process myself. So I'm trying to do a remortgage. So I'm happy to say that as I'm going through that whole process, I'll be able to create more content on that side, because that's something I've not really been able to speak on like fully, just because I didn't have that experience myself. So happy that I'm going through it myself now. I'm gonna record everything and then make sure that I put together some like useful videos for you guys all around that topic. So yes, very good question. Before I go on to the next question that I have already, guys, do not be shy, do not be afraid. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer, please do drop them down in the comments and I'll get those answered for you. Those are what these Q&A Sundays are for. So yeah, ask away. Right, next question. How much should the tenant deposit be? So tenant deposit is usually a month's worth of rent. So that's what my tenants paid when securing the tenancy for the property. So yeah, usually a month's rent. So yeah, it's that simple. Next question. A review of OpenRent and the services you have used, i.e. inventory, rent collection, etc. So first of all, a review of OpenRent. So for me personally, I think OpenRent is great. Like, I think for what it is, which is essentially like an online sort of letting agent service, I think it's really good. So this is the first time that I've used OpenRent to source my existing tenants, and I think the whole process was pretty good, very smooth. So essentially with OpenRent, you pay for a package. It's called Rent Now. It may have changed since I did it back in January, February this year. So yeah, you pay for this package, which is about £50, I believe it is. I've got another video talking about it. I'll also link that in the cards so that you can refer to it later. But yeah, you pay for that package and you create a listing. It goes on all the portals, Zoopla, Rightmove, all those places there, as well as OpenRent itself. And then obviously people see your listing, get in touch with you. Then you arrange viewings with those that you want to progress with. On the viewings then, after you've obviously met with people, done some early vetting yourself, then you are able to then progress and basically see who you'd like to do like the third party referencing with in order to proceed with your tenancy. So yeah, I think OpenRent's really good, to be honest. It's a lot cheaper than using like your physical letting agents. If you go to a physical letting agent, they'll most times charge you about a month's rent for sourcing you a tenant, whereas with OpenRent, as I said, it's about £50 for the package, and they do charge £20 per reference, which still, when you think about it, is nothing compared to, you know, traditional letting agent. So yeah, I think it's very good service. In terms of the things that I've used with OpenRent, yes, I did my inventory with them. So actually you do pay a bit more on top of that package for inventory. Inventory is about £70, I believe. Rent collection, so when you do this rental package with OpenRent, they actually offer you free rent collection for the first month, and thereafter it's £10 a month, or you can decide that you want to handle the rental payments yourself. And so in that case, you can just provide your provide your account details to the tenant, and then just have them set up a direct debit to collect the money that way. So yeah, I think it's a very good service pretty much all around. What else can I say about OpenRent? Yeah, what else have I used it for? So as well as like obviously inventory, listings, I use them to also secure my tenant's deposit. So when you get deposits from a tenant, you cannot just hold it in your own personal account or business account. You have to actually register it in a secure tenancy deposit scheme, which is actually with the government, and so they actually do that whole process for you. So another thing that you don't have to worry about, as well as that, obviously creating the whole tenancy agreement, a legally binding document. So OpenRent help you to create that document, and you just need to fill in obviously your tenant's details. Everybody signs it electronically and all those kind of things. So again, I think it's a very good service for the price that you pay. What else? I think that's pretty much what they offer. So yeah, I think very good stuff, worth giving it a try if you're somebody that you're willing to, I suppose, get out there, get out of your comfort zone, and, you know, speak to tenants, reference them, vet them, and even just do viewings in general, because that can be quite time consuming. And so if you're not somebody that's up for that kind of thing, you're not much of a people person, then maybe not. But if you are and you're up for it, then definitely give it a try, because for the price it's well worthwhile. So I've seen some comments pop up, so I just want to make sure that I'm getting them, but for some reason I can't see them over there on my phone. Give me a second, guys. I'm just going to try and pull it up on my laptop. Okay, so, right, on the topic of a joint mortgage, if the age of the person you're looking to join with is over 60, will it be likely to hinder you, as the lender may consider the person too old? Hope I make sense. Yeah, that definitely does make sense. So, I can't really advise, because that's just, it's not, you know, mortgages aren't my area. I'm not a mortgage broker, but I think it may be a case whereby, I don't know, first have a conversation with a few brokers and see what they say, because each of them will vary on what they can offer you. So I do understand it's a kind of sticky situation, but you just speak to them and see what they can offer you, really, because at the end of the day, the joint mortgage is more or less it's like a guarantor kind of thing. As long as they can see that income wise, I suppose, you can really afford it, then there shouldn't be an issue. But if it's a case whereby your joint mortgage is down to both of you sharing the load, and the money to be able to pay for that mortgage is coming from both of you, then it may not be possible. But if it's a case where they can see that based on your income you can pay for it alone, you know, worst case, then they may still be able to offer you that joint mortgage. So yeah, just go out there, exhaust all your options, speak to the brokers. If you want me to advise of brokers, then get in touch with me. Send me an email, which will be in the description box, and then I can put you in touch with somebody. But yeah, definitely do go for it. Another question, where do we send questions? So if you just type it in the comments box, there should be a comments box on the right if you're using a laptop. I think if you're using it on your phone, it should be at the bottom. Next question. That must save you money in the long run, because estate agent fees are so expensive. Yes, they are expensive. I mean, once you've got the tenant in, it's about, so most of them charge a fixed fee each month. So it could be anything from about 50, 60, £100 a month, depending on the size of the property and the agent that you're working with. So yeah, it is very worthwhile doing it with OpenRent, because it's just a whole lot cheaper. Obviously, once you've paid for that rent now package to source tenants in the first place, monthly there are no charges, so you keep all of the money for yourself. So that's another good thing about OpenRent. Thank you for your free help. Really appreciate your videos, very helpful. Well, thank you so much, Max. I'm glad you think so. So yeah, thank you everyone that's joined the live so far and submitted questions. Also, it's you guys that are making this a really great, lively, interactive session, and just making it a whole like enjoyable thing for me also. Like, as I've said before, one of the reasons I wanted to start doing these Q&A sessions on a more regular basis is because it's nice to be able to chat to you guys and feel like I'm actually interacting with people and not just sitting behind a camera just pressing record, which is obviously not real life. So yeah, great to have these sessions. Keep submitting your questions as you think of anything, and yeah, I'll continue to go through some of the other questions that I'd had people submit in advance. But yes, if you do have any other questions, please do let me know. So back to my list. Have you considered getting rent guarantee insurance? So yes, I did initially, when I got my first investment property, I did consider getting rent guarantee insurance, but I didn't actually do it. And to be honest, it was just a thing of, I just got into property. Obviously that's another cost. We all know when you get into property, there's so many insurances that, you know, people can sell you. And so having conversations with other investors, like, I got the kind of like sense that I didn't need to worry about it really. I mean, it's a personal decision to make, but I think moving forwards, once I get into my next investment property, I will go ahead to do the whole rent guarantee insurance, just because, do you know what I mean? It's only about £20 a month. It does basically guarantee that if your tenants stop paying, they'll be able to cover that essentially, and they'll pay you, like, you know, the monthly rental that you missed out on. Obviously, the only thing about that rent guarantee insurance is that it's not straight away. So if a tenant stops paying today, I don't think it's a thing whereby come tomorrow or even in a week or 2 weeks time they'll pay you that money. I think you do have to wait a bit, but obviously I don't know because I don't have it myself. But I think if you're somebody that's looking to go into property as a business, you have your properties under a limited company, you have, you know, a good accountant, you have all those things set up and you're doing it the right way, then getting something like rent guarantee insurance or is a good thing to do, just because like it's the cost is really nothing when you think about the fact that you're probably got on an interest only mortgage, and so your profits are a lot higher. So yeah, I think it's worthwhile doing it, especially if you're new to property and you're really trying to build a portfolio. I don't think £20 a month, you know, out of however much you're making on the property is gonna, it's not gonna do any harm. So yeah, if you've got an insurance that's gonna protect you, if you ever need to go to court and it's gonna help pay for those costs and things like that, then, you know, why not? So yeah, for the next properties I will be doing so, but I haven't currently. Next question. How quickly did you rent out your place yourself? Okay, so the first time around, when I first got my property, I gave it over to some letting agents in the area. So they did it very quickly, to be honest. I think in the space of 3 days, I had tenants and they were ready to move in on an agreed date. When I decided to do it by myself through OpenRent earlier this year, it actually took me about, I'd say, 4 weeks. And obviously that's because there were a few candidates that I went through, you know, doing various like vetting with each of them. And obviously I think what really was a problem was the fact that it was a whole new experience to me, like you know, meeting with tenants, doing viewings, knowing, okay, this person's got this criteria, that, no, this person's, you know, got this going on, that person's got that going on, and you know, who would fit best, who can I rely on to be a good tenant and, you know, pay me each month. So things like that, and then deciding how many people am I going to vet, and obviously there's costs associated with that. I think yeah, it just made it take a while longer because I wasn't really used to it, and also I wasn't doing my own pre-vetting checks prior to like putting them through the whole OpenRent process. So really after doing it the first like few times, I realized that, you know, what you really want to do if you're going to use a service like OpenRent is basically, once you've created your listing, you have people come to the property to do viewings, you want to tell them to bring certain documents to that initial viewing, okay? So you want to be able to confirm that these people are employed, all right? So maybe ask them to bring their employment contract, last few months pay slips. Also, you want to confirm that they are who they say they are, so they can bring their ID, passports, etc. Those are the two main documents that you want them to bring to that viewing, because then at least you've done the first part, right? Anyone that comes and can bring those documents, at least you can sort of confirm that these are people that can afford to be in the property. So yeah, I didn't, in the first place, I didn't really realize that, and I failed to do that, which wasted a lot of time. So when I did get to a point where I knew that, okay, this is what I really need to be doing to be efficient, things went a whole lot smoother and I was able to get in my tenants pretty quickly. So yeah, that's what took, you know, a bit of time. But then even at that, I think a month doing it on my own for the first time, it's not bad at all. So yeah, that's how long it took me, about 4 weeks. Any tips on getting tenants quickly, prerequisite checks on tenants, etc. So yeah, just like I said just now in that, covering that last question, that's the best way to get tenants in quickly, making sure that you do your own pre-checks prior to doing any third-party checks with OpenRent or any other service, like making sure that you are doing those basic things for yourself so that you can save on time, and also save spending £20 per person to do, you know, third-party referencing with OpenRent. Like, it's not worth it if, you know, you haven't even done the basic things and can confirm that, you know, even this person's, you know, able to be living legally in the country, let alone your property. So yeah, doing things like that will definitely speed up the process and make it a lot smoother for yourself. So yeah, the follow-up question to that was, what do you tell prospective tenants to bring to viewings? So yeah, as I said, it's pretty much bring ID to that first viewing. So that could be your passport, your driving license, and then secondary proof of income, so employment contract, and then, you know, pay slips for the last few months, most recent months, should I say. So that is that. The next question. So guys, if you've just joined recently in the last few minutes, welcome to Q&A Sundays. So these happen every last Sunday of the month. We're doing this one on the first Sunday of this month because I was away. last week. But yeah, great to have you here. If you have any questions, please do just submit them in the comments box and I'll get those answered for you. We do this every last Sunday, so if you feel a bit nervous or shy or you can't think of any questions, do come back next Sunday and, you know, let me know your questions and I'll get those answered. So moving on to the next, let's have a bit of water. Next question, how often do you visit your property for inspections? Okay, so since my current tenants moved in February, mid-February, I've only been to the property once, and that was 3 months into them moving in. So that was in May, I believe. Yeah, in May. The next inspection will be next month. So I've given it a longer period of time, given it about 6 months, just because they are good tenants, pay on time. When I went to visit back in May, the property was in great condition, like they're looking after it, clean, tidy, you know, all that good stuff that, you know, a landlord wants to see. So yeah, that gave me a lot of confidence in them, and so I didn't feel the need to be on top of them. Prior to that, I was thinking, you know what, every 3 months I'm gonna be there, but haven't felt the need to. I'll pop round next month, see how things are, and then just take it from there. So yeah, it's down to your discretion really. If you feel like you need to keep your eyes closely on a tenant, then definitely do so. This is your money, this is your property, your money making machine, so as my mom says. So yeah, that's that one. Next question, any pitfalls of managing property yourself? Any pitfalls? So the only thing I would really say is that the time element. So as I mentioned earlier, when using OpenRent to find tenants for myself this time round, it was a thing where I didn't know to do like pre-vetting myself, and so I did waste some time in that area. And so a pitfall would typically be that you waste more time than if you handed it over to a letting agent who's a professional in that area and this is their day job, like day in, day out. So that is something that you should watch out for. But hopefully by watching this live, hearing my own experience, then you'll like avoid doing that, and that won't be a pitfall for you, it won't be an issue. So that's the only thing that I can think about in terms of, yeah, pitfalls of managing your own property. Like there's really nothing to it. Once you've got the tenant in, like there's actually nothing. As I said earlier, set up a direct debit, or get the tenant to set up a direct debit, and you know the rental money should just come in each and every month. So keep an eye on it. But yeah, outside of that, there's not too much to it, unless of course maybe there's an issue with the property and then you need to get someone to go and doing some works and things like that. But generally it's nice, it's easy, which is why a lot of investors do like buy to lets, because it's a very much hands-off, you know, type of investment property, type of investment. Sorry, should I say. I've just seen a question come up. Hey Stephanie, thanks for your question. Is 30,000 enough for a mortgage deposit, or do you need more? Yeah, 30,000 is definitely enough. It all depends on where you're buying and the value of the property. So for a buy-to-let property, well, if you're talking residential, you can get, you know, a property with as little as a 5% deposit, depending on your situation. But if it's a buy-to-let property, you'll usually need at least a 20% deposit. Most will want 25%, but some will take a 20% deposit. So it all depends. What is 20 or 25% of the overall property value that you're looking at? That's how much of a deposit that you're going to need. So it's all relative, really. What costs do you have to consider, e.g. deposit, solicitors fees, etc.? So yeah, like you mentioned, those costs, and then what else? Mortgage product fees, but also you can get that added onto your actual mortgage. What else is there? There are, my mind's actually gone blank. My mind's gone blank. It's been a while since I purchased myself. So I do have a video actually, and I'm just gonna link that in the description, and that will give you like, you know, no like wasting time. We just get straight to the point and tell you exactly what you should expect in terms of cost for a property. So yeah, keep a lookout for that. I'm gonna link that in the description and also in the cards. But I've just remembered also stamp duty. If it's not your first property, and if it's an investment property, you'll need to pay stamp duty. So yes, I'll link in the cards anyway for that other video, so you can refer to that. Hopefully that helps. Right, let me go back to my questions. Okay, do you let your tenants know you are the landlord, or do you say you are from the management company? So very upfront with my tenants. They know I'm the landlord, so I'm the person that they spoke to through OpenRent when we were doing the initial, like, you know, exchange of messages prior to the viewing. I'm the person that they met at the viewings. I'm the person that signed the tenancy agreement with them, so they know like everything. I don't feel the need to hide. Yeah, like even when I had my property with a letting agent, like I'm sure they knew, like, well, I guess it doesn't really matter because they were going through the letting agent. But yeah, short story, yeah, they know it's me, so I don't hide that. And then the final question that I had already that was pre-submitted, well, again, it's another scenario. I'm in my third year at uni and I'm so interested in property investing. What do you think would be the best route for me, as I don't have a lot of money? Also, I'm thinking of being a lettings agent to gain more experience. Yeah, I think yeah, great idea to go into being a lettings agent to get some experience, because that's really the best way to sort of, I guess, get a foot into the property world, because lettings agent, they get, like, they know everything. Like, to be honest, if you're looking to go into any type of property strategy, whether it's sourcing, whether it's, I don't know, rent to rent, whether it's you want to do buy to lets, you always have to speak to agents, just because a lot of the times if someone's trying to sell a property, they're going to go for an agent, just because it's just like second nature. It's what you think, like, I want to sell my property, and so yeah, let me go to an agent. So like you two, you're gonna have to speak to agents to find, you know, deals a lot of times. So yeah, definitely going the lettings agent route is a great way to, you know, do things. You'll get to understand what it takes to, like, you know, I suppose not only source properties, but basically the things that you should be looking out for, and also just generally how to, like, just do property. Yeah, just do property really. And obviously, if you want to be a hands-on landlord also, and you want to think about like letting out your properties yourself, obviously if you've got experience as a lettings agent, then that's really going to help you in doing so. So and then to actually target the first part of the question, she says, or they say, what would be the best route for me to start in property, because I don't like have a lot of money. So yeah, property sourcing is a common way that a lot of people are getting into property nowadays, just because it's the lowest, like, entry point in terms of cost wise. Like, you don't need a lot of capital to be a property sourcer. You just need to have your compliance set up, and you can do that about 500 £600. 500 £600 is your compliance cost for being a property sourcer, and that's really it, compared to like even rent to rent, whereby you may need a couple of months, you know, rent deposit to give to the landlord. There are other costs, like maybe a refurb for a property before, you know, a landlord's willing to hand it over to you to do rent to rent. Like, there's a lot more cost with other strategies. So yeah, the cheapest way that you can get into property is property sourcing, which is why a lot of people are doing it now. Like, property sources are in abundance, but it does not mean that you can't make money through property sourcing, but you definitely have to have focus. It is definitely for someone that has more time on their hands. So if you're somebody that doesn't really have the time, then property sourcing again may not be the one for you, because the way things are going, a lot of people are looking for direct to vendor off-market deals, and off-market deals are essentially things that you don't find online on like portals like Zoopla and Rightmove. So yeah, if you're somebody that you have a bit more time, you're willing to go that extra mile to get direct to vendor deals, really good deals that investors and people are going to want to buy, then definitely go for it. Low entry point in terms of cost. And yeah, that's my take on it. So yeah, hopefully you guys have found this all very useful. Again, thank you to everyone that has joined tonight. Thank you for your submissions, thank you for your questions. Really fun session. It's you guys that make this like really a good experience. It's the interaction, it's everything. So yeah, thank you for joining another Q&A Sundays. These happen every last Sunday of the month, so I'll be back again actually at the end of this month, just because last month's Q&A Sunday got moved to today because I was away last weekend. But yeah, I'll be back at the end of the month. So if you weren't able to submit a question, or you just felt a bit nervous, a bit shy, do not worry, come back at the end of the month and, you know, we'll talk it out. So yeah, just keep a note of all your questions, and yeah, we'll do this very soon. But yeah, thank you for joining. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much, Manuel and Stephanie. Thank you for joining, guys. And if nobody has any more questions, then I'm going to leave you guys to it and let you enjoy the rest of your evenings and have a great week ahead. So yeah, thank you guys, and I'll catch you later. Bye. Oh, wait, sorry, Abigail, I can't find the email link. My IT skills are not too great. I'd like to get some lender info from you if possible, please. Okay, hopefully, do you know what, Max, I'll get in touch with you. Sorry guys, Max, I'll get in touch with you. But yeah, thank you for joining, everyone. If there are no other questions, I'm gonna leave it at that. So have a great week ahead, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.